So let's get into our movie review. So we are up to, or at least I am now up to 3 movies for the year. 3 weeks in, 3 movies.
All right.
I'm blowing past 40. I'm going 52 this year. I'm kidding. There's going to be a lull at some point in here, but
there's gonna be like a month period where there's just nothing we want to watch.
yeah, I'll figure something out in there. Like I said, I think I'm going to open myself up to more genres this year.
We got to look at those artisan films too. You know what
Ugh.
I
Ugh.
mean? I feel like some of those could be good if we give them a chance.
I just I'm not a huge fan of like dry movies is the problem.
Mm.
Like kind of like just boring like dialogue drama-y movies. Like there's times where I've enjoyed them, but I do think that's more of something I like to watch at home.
Or even like the foreign films they have in AMC sometimes.
I'd have to go to like Lowe's for that too. AMC Lowe's for that.
Mm.
That's no good. That's too far away.
Yeah, because that's the Boston Commons one, right?
Yeah, they put like all of those artisan like the foreign ones at least into those theaters generally. Yeah. Which
Mm.
makes sense. I get it, but I just don't ever want to drive into the city to go to a theater when I have to drive by 3 other theaters to get there.
Fair point.
So yeah, we went and saw The Beekeeper.
Yes.
Some point about last week, and let's start with box office performance. What was the budget on this? 70 million. That's a guess.
34.
Wow. Okay, good for them. And how much did it make? 27.
22 so far.
Okay, I was closer on that. Okay. I'm impressed with how little money they had to spend on it, which I guess kind of makes sense when you think about it. So my description of this movie, I've thought about this a little bit, and hear
Okay.
me out, Dante, as to what I think this is. Are you familiar with the movie John Wick?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the first John Wick movie?
Yes.
So the Beekeeper is John Wick, but instead of somebody killing his dog, they kill his bees. Am I on point with that description?
I mean, yeah, sure.
So like
This
John
is like
Wick,
a formula that's been tapped many times. So like,
yeah, I don't think I'm like revealing anything. I mean, if you're gonna watch this and you don't want to be spoiled at all, like 3, 2, 1, you can click forward in the video. But there's really not a ton to reveal that because I think at the end of the day, if you're gonna see this, like the plot doesn't really matter too much. But so John Wick, the whole premise is like he's an elite killer. He removes himself from the game. He starts a family and has a dog and a wife. Dead. This movie, guy is an elite killer, removes himself from the game, retires. Doesn't find a wife, but he's a beekeeper and he has an old lady. Not a wife old lady, but like a legitimately old lady. Miss Huxtable?
yes.
Yeah, okay. She's a sweet woman in this, by the way. Great. Steals the scenes for like the first 10 minutes that she's actually in. Both movies, those people get killed for the guy, and it sets off like a chain reaction of events of I'm gonna kill everything and just get to the top of the fucking food chain. I don't give a fuck who gets in my way. And I say that to set up the motivations in either one of those movies. Like the John Wick thing is always a joke. Like he kills all of those people for a fucking dog is always kind of the joke about that movie. It's also like super relatable because people would always say that like if you did something to my dog, I'd fucking kill you. But like it's somebody bringing that to life. Is she distracting you?
A little bit.
Okay, she's got to get comfortable, dude. Bailey is making her bed right now. People, Dante was upset at her for trying to get comfortable in her own room.
Wasn't upset with her.
Now you might hear her crinkling around on stuff. So yeah, like people always say, like if you'd hurt my dog, I would like kill you. Like John Wick took that seriously. Like when he made that promise, he meant it. This guy is like, I found solace in just tending my bees, dude. Like I find people I like, I make them honey. That's his whole deal. This poor old woman gets shit stolen from her. Spoiler alert again, just really quickly, blows her brains out. That was a really dark moment in this movie, to be honest. Like in a movie that's mostly just like mindless action, very violent moment or like dark moment. It's just this old lady who's like 80 years old, just fucking offing herself.
Yeah.
I like that. Do you think that's believable?
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
I think debt and like, financial reasons are one of the leading causes of suicide.
For 80-year-olds.
I don't know about the age demographic, but I know it happens a lot.
I just think that happens with people who are younger in their life that like, how am I ever going to come back from this? Whereas like,
Why can't she be at the same point? How am I ever going to come back from this?
I just think that old people can garner more sympathy and there's more ways to like keep going at that point. With, like,
Yeah, but I mean, at least the way they
and
played out
stuff.
the character, it just felt like she had a good sense of pride, and it was like, fuck, like,
She also had a daughter
tarnished.
who was in the fucking CIA or FBI that could have very easily helped her. You know what I mean?
Hey,
like,
this isn't a movie you watch for the plot.
That's my gripe here, right? Is like logically, it's like I get that they stole. Like, so basically, like I actually did enjoy this aspect of it. That, like, especially with our background and what we do for work.
Yeah.
The idea that this old woman clicks on something and she gets the pop-up that's like, oh no, you have a virus, call this phone number. And it sets this whole movie off. Because she's the old woman who calls the people, and it's like Wolf of Wall Street style, calls this office building, and it's these guys that are like, we're gonna fucking take her for everything she's got. Like, now, ma'am, you just need to click on this and this and this, and like they end up wiping her clear of like $2.5 million, right? Like, that's
Something like that,
about
yeah.
that. Excuse me. So my issue is like that is a lot of fucking money. That sucks. Some of that money wasn't even hers though. It was a
Most
fucking
of
charity.
that money wasn't hers.
Yeah, it was a charity. So maybe it's the guilt
Yeah.
that did it. But my whole thing is, again, your daughter's in the fucking FBI. There's a chance. You didn't even tell her to be like, can you try to like, is there a way I can get this money back? Like, this woman just lost all hope and just killed herself.
They didn't delve into that relationship a lot, but I almost feel like they framed it as like they had kind of like an estranged relationship where maybe her daughter didn't come by as much.
Well, so she did say she doesn't come by as much, but she also mentioned when she was talking to them on the phone while they were installing the software, oh, my daughter set this up and put all the stuff on there for me. So there was at least some kind of relationship there. There was a way that they could have there could have been a phone call made.
Yeah.
It just seems very like, it just seems a little fast to put a bullet in your brain. You know?
And
regardless.
one night, she didn't even let it set in.
Also, especially the case that bullet in brain, daughter just shows up the next day, right?
Coincidence, right?
Yeah, is that what it was? Like, I'm trying to remember now. Was there a reason the daughter showed up the next day, or was she just happened to be stopping by? Or that night? It wasn't even that next day.
It was that night.
Yeah, it was that night.
I think she had happened to be stopping by.
Yeah, that is quite the coincidence.
Because she then thought,
Statham,
yeah,
the beekeeper. So yeah, basically, it's also crazy because, and really quick, because I think I'm coming off very negative on this movie. This movie's great. Like, it was,
which is crazy because this is a movie we went in with not high expectations.
Well, if you listen to everything I'm saying, your expectations should not be high.
No, they shouldn't.
To your point, you said this. You should not be going into this movie for the plot. There's a million plot holes in this movie. A lot of shit that doesn't make sense, and I just I'm a little hung up on some of it now that I'm retreading it in my brain. I do want to say, though, this was a very enjoyable watch.
You know what's funny? So I was thinking about this when you were comparing it to John Wick, too, is like, I think you can also kind of compare this to like maybe a slasher if you remove the thriller aspect of it.
Oh, yeah, he was just he's just showing up places and just fucking murdering people.
Yeah.
He was just on a mission, dude. Like, and so, like, the weird part of all this is like, it's the worst. It's the idea of like just dropping this person who's the perfect like foe to all of these things that happen, which is like the purpose of a beekeeper. So he's a beekeeper, but he's also a beekeeper. You know? And what that means is he tends to bees, but also there's this like secret government organization that maintains balance in the world that doesn't have to answer to any government organizations, and they basically get to make this one
where
guy.
have I heard that before?
Yeah. This one guy gets to make up his mind regardless of good or evil. He just decides, and he has to rebalance the world. And so it's like somehow this perfect guy that could be in this scenario has this woman kill herself from one of these fucking giant scams of old people getting robbed for all their money, which is normally Google Play cards and stuff like that. It's not like your whole bank account, by the way.
Yeah.
But he's like Liam Neeson I will find you and I will fucking kill you. And he just goes on a rampage.
Oh man.
In the way he kills people, it is like very like this is where the John Wick comparisons continue, because like John Wick has a lot of those kills where you're like, oh shit, you know? And I think that this movie definitely accomplishes that.
I like the commitment to the hand-to-hand, like they made him use guns as little as possible in the movie.
Yeah, well, and like that's always been something I think Statham has stood out for throughout, from the Transporter on, is his ability to what's funny about action stars? They're all such small men. You know?
Oh, is he like short?
Yeah, look up his height. He's got to be like 5'7". I'd be shocked if he's over 5'7", 5'8".
Oh, I should probably type height.
Oh, they're saying he's 5'10". Yeah, that's a lie. That's a lie. He's 5'8", dude. There's no way that man is over 5 fucking 8. He is like that. You know how they blow that stuff up online to make it like seem a little bit better.
You know what's funny? On the Google results, I'm seeing 5'10" and 5'8".
Yeah, he's definitely 5'8".
He's fluffing his numbers a little bit. He wears heels.
Oh, he definitely has to. Like Tom Cruise is a small guy. Like he's not a big, huge guy.
Yeah.
That's where it's like guys like Alan. I always get his fucking name wrong. Alan Rickman, right? Or Richman.
Alan Richman.
Yeah. He like that guy is legitimately a monster.
Richson, that's what it is.
Yeah, like he's legitimately huge. That's your action stars right there. But really, what we end up with is these like tiny little guys as your main action stars.
Oh, because Vin Diesel's short too, right?
Yeah, he's not that big. He wears lifts.
All right, it says he's 5'11", so not short, but
that means he's 5'9".
It's funny though because like then it says The Rock is 6'5", and it's like all those face-offs where they're definitely at eye level.
This is the point, because like The Rock is legitimately like a large man. He played football, like he was a wrestler. Obviously, he might not be 6'5", but he's like at least 6'3", 6'4". Like he's a very large man.
So you're just saying all of Hollywood is fluffing by 2 inches?
At least everywhere.
Okay,
I'm not just talking height. But yeah, like you're right, Vin Diesel. I mean, I got Vin Diesel on the brain. I got Vin on the brain, dude. Now he must be 5'5". Tom Cruise lists at 5'7". Or you know what, man? Tom Cruise is the last truly honest man in the world.
I was gonna say he might actually be 5'7".
He's like, I don't need to fucking lie about this, dude. I fly jet planes and shit. Like, I actually do it. I'm not like just turning it on for the fucking theater. But yeah, Statham, I think that something is consistently he has stood out for through his whole career is his ability to come off very legitimate in these hand-to-hand scenes. The Transporter was definitely the first. That and the Italian Job were the two first movies that like stood out for me for Jason Statham. And I think that like through those movies that he built that credibility, and it's always kind of maintained since then. And he's dabbled in more serious roles.
Don't forget Crank.
Yeah. Well, that came a little later, but yeah, like I just think he's established himself as that kind of guy. And I was really happy with this movie because I think it is a little bit more of a return to form. I was happy with the R rating. I thought it lived up to it. I think one of my favorite kills, I don't want to go through like the whole list of them, but the one I think I found most enjoyable was he cuts the dude's fingers off.
Okay.
And then follows him to a bridge. Waits till the bridge opens up, like has to like let a boat through, and just ties the guy with a seatbelt to his car.
It was a ratchet strap.
Sure, dude. All right, what the fuck? All right, sure. What did he? Okay, since we want to just get all fucking technical on me with shit, what did he do in the engine?
So basically, like when you hit the throttle, it's tied to a lever which opens your intake, which allows air to the fuel, and engine goes vroom. Okay. He locked that lever back so that it was stayed revving, and then just threw it in drive.
Got it. So yeah, he basically does all of what Dante just said, super scientifically, and
it's fun when it's something that you could actually do, like with those older vehicles.
So he basically just ties the guy to the car, puts the car in drive, and then yeets him off the bridge. And I'm not doing it justice for visually how funny it looks. Like, because up to this point, like, I think when we went into it, I knew I was signing up for an action movie, but I thought I was going to be signing up for more of like an espionage action movie because the trailer I don't think really shows the setup of the theft or anything. I feel like the trailer will like kind of lets you know like there's this hidden organization of
Yeah, I was
gatekeepers.
gonna say the trailer definitely just alludes more to like retired assassin, hitman, whatever, comes back into life, but it doesn't really give you too much of the action, I don't think.
Yeah, so like once you know why he's doing it, and then you see how he's like like the very first thing he does is like he signs in and he finds where the people are that stole the money from the old woman, like very early in the movie, signs in on the log. Like they never show what he signed. I assume it burns down at the end of all.
Yeah.
But like he signs in, which is a hysterical thing. And he's like, "You should tell everybody to leave." The woman's like, "Excuse me," and he's like, "I'm gonna burn this whole fucking place to the ground." Sociopath. Like I am going to kill everybody in here if you don't tell them to leave.
Yeah.
And then he just walks in and starts pouring gasoline on people. Like it starts in such a funny way that I was not expecting it, and then it's just an adrenaline rush for a majority of the movie. I think 2 hours is a good length. It maybe could have been shaved down about 15 minutes somewhere in there, but I'm okay with like the runtime. I thought was good. Anything, I've always said it on here, like basically I'm at this point now with movies that anything under 2 hours is a win.
Yeah, I mean, basically there's no point of the movie where it felt like filler or it was dragging. If anything, we got an extra 15 minutes of action, which I'm cool with.
Yeah, I just think maybe some of the action could have like some of the last action scene, like the last set of action scene, there are like act rather.
Yeah.
They could have. There was a little bit too much of the mindless John Wick. Like John Wick definitely suffers from this more in the later movies, I think too, where it just feels like the scene goes on and on with him just shooting people in the same way over and over again. Yeah. So like that staircase felt like it never ended.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like he might as well have been going to the 10th floor.
Yeah, like it was one floor's worth of stairs, and this man he must have shot 15 people. They just like never-ending dummies.
Yeah,
kept coming. But then he had a really good fight scene with that guy with the metal leg or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So it culminates in some like it has these like really fun flows. I thought the cast was pretty good in it too, surprisingly. Josh Hutcherson is your number one bad guy, but then you also have, why am I not pulling his name right now? Filibuster for me, Dante. I just need you to talk, so because you won't find this fast enough for me.
Oh, I won't.
No.
I got IMDb up already.
Me too. Jeremy Irons.
That's what I was gonna say.
For. Yeah, like you have Jeremy Irons just kind of like in like a whatever role, which is kind of great. And not whatever, like he's actually very good in the part that he's in.
I was gonna say it was a good supporting role.
Yeah, like it's just I was like so surprised to see him in that supporting role. I was not anticipating him. I honestly wasn't sure he was still alive, if I'm being completely honest. And that's where I do think, getting you onto more homework. You have my Vudu login now. Yeah. I do think you need to watch some more Die Hard.
Okay.
And I mostly say, like I told you in the movie, like Die Hard 3, now that you've seen Die Hard 1, I think will be like a good movie for you to watch. So maybe that's some homework for you, Dante. Let's get on to ranking though, because there's only, I want people to see this, by the way. You have the audience score there. Can you just let the people know what the audience score is?
93.
93% of people who have gone and seen this, like they've greatly enjoyed it.
93% of people went there and said, "Fuck you, Rotten Tomatoes. What do you know?"
Yeah, and honestly, the Rotten Tomatoes score isn't that bad. 769. That's a great number.
Is that their secret way to say we loved it?
Yeah, that's the way. Like, okay, that should be a code. You know how like In-N-Out Burger has like a secret menu.
You've heard of this,
but they do have a secret menu. Like McDonald's has a secret menu too. That should be the thing with Rotten Tomatoes is like when it's a movie that's not traditionally good, like not something that they can just give like a high 90s to or like a high 80s to, but it's like a watchable, like fun movie.
It's like, no, you should still watch this.
They should just give it a 69.
Yeah.
Give her the old 69. And then that would make so much more sense when you looked at the audience score and you're like, oh, this has a 94 or 94, 95%. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 69. It must be good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Regardless, like I'm not saying this is like the get out to the movie theater and see it movie. If you are a movie theater goer like we are, I highly advise you to check it out. If you are just an action movie enthusiast, enthusiast.
You got to have one of those every pod.
Yeah, I know. Fuck. I hate myself. If you want to wait till it's on streaming, I'm sure in 2.5 months it's gonna pop up on HBO, Paramount, Prime Video,
something.
Maybe the Flicks or the Cock. Maybe they'll 69. Yeah.
Oh.
Check it out. I think this is definitely a should watch for people. So much so that it's against stiff competition. 69. I have it at number 1 on my movies here to date.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Yeah.
I ranked it 3.5 stars.
I think I did too.
Oh, okay. I ranked Origin 4 stars.
So I put them both at 3.5, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So, like, here's the thing. I do think Origin, to me, is going to stay at 3.5. I do think there's a world where further into the year, this movie probably goes down a little bit for me.
What I was going to say is I ranked Origin at 4 stars. I ranked this at 3.5 stars. Because I do think Origin is a better movie, but in terms of enjoyability, I still put this above Origin on the list.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I came from. I actually was struggling. I kind of said that to you when we were leaving the theater, and I struggled with this a little bit because I do tend to agree that like the messaging and everything with Origin cannot go without saying. It is an overall more impactful, better acted movie, but it's not necessarily what I go to the movie theater for. And a lot of what the movie theater rankings list is the movie theater experience. I do think it has to be somewhere in the thought process of what I'm ranking on there. Not the be all end all, but I do think it has to be put into thought or perspective when I'm doing it. So yeah, I think for right now, Beekeeper is up there. I do think it's going to end up in front of Origin, similar to yours, but I could see as I start to even out the list, as I add more movies to it, that instead of leaving Beekeeper at 3.5, I might end up knocking it down to 3 at some point.
Yeah.
Just comparatively as other stuff comes out. I never said this last week, but I have Night Swimming at 2 stars. So.
Yeah.
And with that being said, as we mentioned earlier, give us a like, comment, share, subscribe if you checked us out earlier. We are available on any audio podcasts platforms, so check us out on there. Dante's on Kick and all these other fucking places, so you can see him on there too, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, sometime. And just like that, everybody, we are out.
Bid you adieu.
Deuces.
Skeet, skeet.
Gluck, gluck.
For those with good taste.